generation was the finest person I have ever had the privilege of meeting on this earth. Every time I saw him, he had a smile on his face. He was truly the happiest person in the world. Never an unkind word to say to anyone, and he always sought the best in anyone he met. Only seeing the good and never the bad in people. He had the best stories to tell. Stories about being in the Coast Guard. He was a cook on a naval aviator ship in Brooklyn Yard during World War II. He had the best stories of Brooklyn sailors. Stories about his shop in Brooklyn. Stories about his childhood. As the rabbi said, I don't know if a lot of you know that he didn't finish grade school, that he taught himself how to fix radios and TVs and had the neighborhood fix-it shop.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty amazing. My grandpa never knew how to read his whole life, and yet the lessons he learned in his 93 years seemed to exceed anything he did not learn in school. How to be kind, loving, and understanding in all affairs with all people of his life. To always have a great sense of humor. He always had a joke. I remember right after his heart attack, I called him, and he was in the hospital, and he told me a joke. I'm calling and I'm a mess and I'm in tears, and he's telling me a joke while he's laying in the hospital after a heart attack. But that's just the kind of person that he was. I learned a lot from my grandfather, so I'll take these lessons that he taught me, and I'll hold them always dear to my heart. And I will pass them on to my children, and she'll pass them on to her children. So then his legacy will live on forever. Through those of us he's left behind, those of us who love him, who will never, his legacy will never die. And so, Silas Pashkin, you will live on in our hearts forever. And say hi to Grandma for me.
Thank you, Risha. Thank you so much. Now I would like to call Jennifer.
I don't know if any of you are from Brooklyn. I wasn't actually from Brooklyn, but I think by default I was from Brooklyn. There's a huge part of my childhood that happened in Brooklyn. My mom worked 2 jobs, so weekends in Brooklyn were pretty normal for me. I would spend them with my grandparents. They would get in the car at the very least every other Friday. And my grandfather would drive about an hour each way after work to pick me up and bring me back to Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure traffic then wasn't nearly as bad as it is now, but it couldn't have been good even then, coming over the Whitestone Bridge every weekend, 2 round trips. I'm pretty sure I never thought about that as a kid. A single complaint was never uttered. It just wasn't his style. He just did it. It's what he had to do. I remember Sunday morning walks to the Georgetown Shopping Center to buy rye bread that came in a yellow bag with black writing. I was telling my dad the other day, I'm not sure why I remember the yellow bag with black writing, but I'm not sure I'll ever forget it. My grandmother used to tell me my grandfather loved the ends of the rye bread. I'm not sure I would have ever known that because I always got them. The ends and the black and white cookie that he bought me every single Sunday. I remember his garden in the little patch of land behind the brownstone. I remember the great big blue car with a back seat that was much more like a couch. I remember that he called me Lady Godiva and Jennifer Jones, and something about never being called late for dinner. Right? Heard that a lot. I remember that his seat at the kitchen table was the one where he could see the picture of me at Aunt Annie's beach. That was his seat. He had to see the picture. I remember counting coins, mostly pennies, and wrapping them in rolls while talking about everything and nothing at the kitchen table. I remember making applesauce. It was Bubby's recipe. School vacations in Brooklyn were pretty normal for me too. Sometimes I went to Brookdale. 3 of my 4 grandparents worked there. It seemed to make sense. I'd hang out in OT, the Occupational Therapy Center, and make craft projects with the residents of the nursing home. Pretty normal. What kid didn't? Every single person who worked at Brookdale knew him. Everyone. And they all loved him. He was just that way. Oh, that's Silas's granddaughter? Oh, how great. They all knew him. They all loved him. That's just the way he was. On the days I didn't go to work with them, I would stay at home with my grandmother, and starting right at about 4:30, I'd plant myself at the top of the stairs. I think I was pretty patient for a little kid. He was gonna take me to the playground, without fail. I never thought about the work day he just finished. He never hesitated. Maybe a quick face wash, a change of clothes, and off to the park we went. I'm not sure how long we stayed. I just know I will never forget the swings. Couldn't help that Grandma always told the story of the bear buzz you of my great grandmother screaming down the hallway when he would come home. But once I became an adult, my grandfather loved to tell people one story about me. The one where I told his TV repair customers that he taught me how to screw. It made him laugh too, every time. He had this pressboard countertop hanging from the wall in his workshop, and there must have been 10 TVs on that thing. I'm not sure how it stayed on the wall. I'd sit there with him while he worked, and I would screw all the spare screws into the edge of the, yeah. Pretty sure the entire rim of that counter was covered. Sometimes I'd even help him with a TV repair. Really, I would hold something on while he fixed it, but I thought I was helping. When he was done, we'd get in the car and we'd go deliver the finished product. It's apparently when I told his customers that he taught me how to screw. He was very proud of his work, and I learned that from him. And then it was back to the swings. It's good. Ready applesauce. He never complained, my grandfather, not once. I don't think in my 42 years I have a single memory of him being mad. Not even frustrated. He just took it in stride. He took everything in stride. I hope to learn that from him. I know he was proud of me. I could see it in his face. I know he was delighted when I came to visit him here in Florida. School breaks throughout high school when there was nothing west of Nob Hill. Collecting golf balls from the course behind his apartment. Shooting pool. Bowling. Bowling makes me smile. One of the companies I worked for after moving down here had joined a bowling league. Do you remember that? I asked my grandfather to bowl with us, and it was awesome. He loved it. I loved it. He was too cute. He was. I know he was proud of me when I got married. I know he was very proud to become a great grandfather. His eyes and his smile showed everything. Well, Grandpa, it's our turn. And I want you to know that I'm proud of you for the service, the honor, the husband that you were, and the role model that you are. and I left.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh my God, thank you.
Now I would like to ask
My
Margaret,
turn.
please.
Here. Thank you all for coming in this wonderful celebration of this marvelous man. You know, I met him in 1993, you know, after I, you know, met Joel and I was thinking about it last night, things about him, and he was always willing to like stretch and be in the now, but whatever was going on, he was there. So when all of a sudden he had 4 grandchildren because we got married, he thought that was really great, you know. He owned three girls. Oh, I got a boy. He says, oh, I got a boy. That was great for him. And Mallory, Mallory was like two and a half. And
Excuse me, Kara.
Kara, sorry.
Kara was
Mallory
came out.
Kara was two and a half, and so Kara, like, you know, just, you know, the bread for the ducks, and what do you wanna do? Swim, they went swimming. Ducks, they went ducks. You didn't, whatever. And with me, you know, if there was anything that needed to be repaired, Joel is not the person. So it's really wonderful that his dad was the person, because he's Mr. Fix-It and I got to be Ms. Fix-It, because and we did lots of stuff together. You know, I would say plumbing, and he would arrive with this, I don't know where he had all this stuff. Excuse me. After Julia died, and we had Dad to ourselves, anytime I called up and said, do you want it? The answer was yes. And, you know, we went to the independent living facility, and we had to go to a new Publix. I don't know about you, but I do not like to go to a new Publix. You know, I wanna go, I wanna find my stuff, and I wanna leave. Oh, no, he thought it was a great idea. New Publix. Off we went, and we went up. I think we must have been there, you know, like an hour and a half. We probably bought 3 things. And, you know, this was great, you know, every aisle, you know, pushing the cart and just talking and laughing and I don't buy that anymore. No, I don't need that anymore, but I could use them. Well, I'll think about that, you know, going on. So it was just fun, and I got to, you know, to like hang out with him, and he decided he was gonna read. And so I'm a former teacher and a former, you know, librarian, so we would go to the library together, and he was interested in so many different things, all kinds of countries. So we would get children's books because they were in larger print, and then he had this magnifying glass that was like this.